Negotiations. Nothing. I said simply. I want nothing from you. No money. No relationship. No family obligations. I'm done. His face went through a series of emotions: shock, anger, and finally, the one I'd been waiting for, fear. You can't do this, he whispered. The house. Everything. We'll lose it all. Probably, I agreed, unless Marie steps up. She got the inheritance. After all, I'm sure she'll be happy to help. The mention of Marie seemed to trigger something. He pulled out his phone, fingers shaking slightly as he dialed. I could hear it ringing on speaker. Daddy? Marie's voice filled the room. Did you talk to her? Did you fix it? Marie, he said, eyes locked on me. Your sister is being difficult. Perhaps if you spoke to her. Put her on. I shook my head, already heading for the door. Goodbye, Dad. Good luck with the mortgage. His voice stopped me at the threshold. I'll tell everyone, he threatened. All your business contacts, your clients, they'll know what kind of person you really are. Abandoning your family like this. I turned back, smiling. Go ahead. Tell them how your younger daughter paid your bills for 5 years while you gave everything to her sister. Tell them how you labeled her a mistake in her mother's will. Tell them exactly why she finally said enough. I closed the door on his stunned face, but I could still hear Marie's voice through the glass. Daddy, what do we do now? Back in my office, I buzzed Oliver. Cancel all my appointments for the rest of the day. And Oliver, if any of my family members try to come up again, call security immediately. Yes, Miss Evans. Also, your sister Marie has called 6 times in the last hour. Block her number, and send in the acquisition papers for the Thompson deal. I need something to focus on. I spent the next few hours buried in work, but my phone kept lighting up with messages from unknown numbers, my family trying to reach me through different lines, each one more desperate than the last. Sarah, please, we'll lose everything. This isn't what Mom would have wanted. You can't just abandon us like this. The bank is threatening foreclosure. I blocked each number methodically, but one message from Marie made me pause. Fine, be that way, but don't come crying to us when your precious company fails. Nobody succeeds alone. She was wrong about that. I had succeeded alone, every step of the way. From that tiny office above the Chinese restaurant to my current success, I'd done it without their help. In fact, I'd done it despite their constant undermining. That evening, I stayed late at the office, watching the sun set over Elliott Bay. My phone had finally gone quiet, but I knew this wasn't over. My family wasn't used to being denied anything, especially by me. They would escalate, try to find ways to pressure me, attempt to use my business contacts against me. What they didn't know was that I was prepared. 5 years of supporting them had taught me to document everything, every transfer, every text message begging for money, every email promising it would be the last time. I had it all safely stored away. I also had something else they didn't know about: leverage. The Thompson deal I was reviewing wasn't just any acquisition. It was for a property management company that happened to handle several of Dad's business properties that were already struggling due to his financial mismanagement. If they wanted to play hardball, they'd learn that the mistake had learned a few tricks of her own. My computer pinged with an email notification. It was from Mr. Patterson, the family lawyer. Miss Evans, your father has requested a family meeting to discuss recent developments. He suggests tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the lake house. Marie and her husband will be present. Please consider attending to resolve this situation amicably. Regards, James Patterson. I hit reply. Mr. Patterson, thank you for the invitation, but I must decline. As the lake house now belongs to Marie, I have no right to be there. As for resolving the situation, I believe Mom's will made everything perfectly clear. Best regards, Sarah Evans, CEO, Evans Consulting Group. I added my full title deliberately. Let them see what the mistake had built while they were busy dismissing her. Just then, Oliver knocked on my door. Miss Evans, you should see this. He handed me his tablet, open to a local business news website. The headline made my blood run cold. Family drama, local businessman accuses daughter of financial abandonment. There was my father, quoted extensively about how his ungrateful daughter had cut off support for her grieving family, how I'd taken advantage of their trust, then abandoned them in their time of need. The article even mentioned my company by name. So this was their play. They thought they could shame me back into line, damage my business reputation until I had no choice but to give in. What they failed to understand was that shame only works if you accept it, and I was done accepting their version of reality. I handed the tablet back to Oliver. Call PR. It's time to tell our side of the story. The next few days would change everything. My family thought they could pressure me into submission, but they were about to learn that the daughter they dismissed for so long had become someone they couldn't afford to antagonize. Their attempts to damage my reputation would backfire spectacularly, leading to revelations that would shake our family's foundations, but that was tomorrow's battle. For now, I had work to do, starting with a call to the Thompson Group about accelerating our acquisition timeline. I never expected to be sitting in this dim law office, staring at words that somehow hurt more than all the years of subtle cruelty combined. The paper trembled slightly in my hands as I read the line again, my eyes blurring with disbelief. To our mistake, Sarah, nothing. 5 simple words. 5 words that were sharper than any blade, colder than any winter storm. They weren't just words. They were confirmation of everything I had always feared but never wanted to accept. For years, I had tried to convince myself that maybe, just maybe, I was wrong. That the distance, the criticism, the way my parents never seemed proud of me wasn't because they didn't love me, but because they didn't know how to show it. But now, here it was, black ink on white paper, final, unchangeable. The irony of it pressed down on me like a weight I couldn't shake. For the past 5 years, I had been sending them $5,000 every single month to keep them afloat. That was $60,000 a year, $300,000 total, money that could have been reinvested into my business, saved for a home of my own, or even used to build the life I'd always dreamed of. Instead, I had poured it into a bottomless pit of their debts and excuses. And now, as I sat in this leather chair, its smooth, polished surface probably worth more than my first car, I was officially nothing. Miss Evans. Mr. Patterson, the family lawyer, cleared his throat gently. His voice echoed slightly against the high shelves of legal books that lined the office walls. Would you like a moment? I looked up from the paper, meeting his gaze. His eyes were carefully professional, but there was discomfort there too, like a man forced to deliver a sentence he didn't agree with. He'd known my family for years. He'd seen my mother's sharp tongue, my father's pride, Marie's golden child smile. He wasn't surprised by this outcome. Not really. He just hated being the one to say it aloud. No, I said, my voice steadier than the storm raging inside me. Please continue. He shuffled his papers quickly, relieved to move on. His words droned in the background, a monotonous recital of assets and distributions. But my mind had already slipped away, back to the place where this all began. It was 5 years ago. I was 25, restless and determined, clawing my way up from nothing. I had just launched my financial consulting firm, nothing glamorous, just me, a laptop, and a tiny office above a Chinese restaurant in downtown Seattle. The space smelled perpetually of garlic and soy sauce, the floors creaked with every step, and the radiator only worked when it felt like it. But it was mine. Every morning, I'd unlock that door with my own key, breathe in the faint scent of Kung Pao chicken drifting up from below, and remind myself, this is the start. This is where it begins. Then came the call. Sarah. My mother's voice had been uncharacteristically fragile that evening. She never sounded small, not her. Not the woman who always carried herself like a queen surveying her kingdom. But that night, she did. We need to talk about something important. The word important in my family was always a red flag. Important never meant good news. Important meant problems, failure, disappointment. Your father's company, she said after a long pause. There's been a problem. I tightened my grip on the phone. What kind of problem? The investment didn't pan out. We're going to lose everything. I closed my eyes. The investment. I had warned them about that. Dad had sunk nearly all of their savings into a risky venture, blinded by promises of fast returns. I had spent years studying finance, working at one of the top investment firms before starting my own business. I had given them my professional opinion, backed by research and risk assessments, but my voice was dismissed. I was just the daughter, the one who had disappointed them by not marrying rich. by not playing the part of the dutiful child. How bad is it? I asked, though my stomach already knew the answer. We can't make the mortgage payment this month, my mother said, her voice cracked, a rare fracture in her usual icy composure. The credit cards are maxed out. Your father, he's not handling it well. I could already see where this was going. I'd seen this pattern my whole life, the guilt, the subtle implication that it was my responsibility to fix what they couldn't. Sarah, I hate to ask, but, she hesitated, the silence heavy on the line. How much do you need? The number that came out of her mouth made my chest tighten. $5,000. I nearly dropped the phone. That was almost everything I had in my business account, the money I'd been saving to expand, to finally move out of that cramped office with its cracked paint and the constant smell of Chinese food. It wasn't just money, it was my future. But they were family, and in my family, that word didn't mean love, it meant obligation, sacrifice, duty. I'll transfer it right now, I whispered. That first transfer was supposed to be temporary, a one-time rescue, but 1 month turned into 2, 2 into 6, 6 into 12. Each time there was a new crisis, a new reason why they couldn't make ends meet, and each time, I opened my banking app and sent another $5,000. Meanwhile, Marie flourished. She had followed the path they wanted, married well, settled into her picture-perfect suburban life, never once feeling the sting of financial struggle. She didn't have to worry about mortgages or credit card bills or keeping the family afloat. That responsibility had fallen squarely on me. The lake house goes to Marie. Mr. Patterson's voice sliced through my memories, along with the summer cottage in Maine and your mother's jewelry collection. I couldn't help the bitter smile tugging at my lips. The lake house. The same lake house where I had spent my summers working, repairing the roof, updating the plumbing, paying for maintenance, while Marie hosted elaborate parties, playing the role of the beloved daughter. The remaining liquid assets will be divided between your father and Marie, with a 70-30 split in your father's favor. Mr. Patterson's voice trailed off. He looked up, his expression soft with pity. That concludes the major points of the will. 5 years of sacrifice, 5 years of funneling my future into theirs, and this was my reward, officially labeled the mistake. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Dad, another reminder about this month's mortgage, due in 3 days. He'd been texting me all week as if I could ever forget. With steady hands, I pulled out my phone. I didn't hear Mr. Patterson anymore, his words faded into background noise. I navigated to the recurring payments section, found the one labeled family support. One tap. Cancel payment. Confirm. Yes. Miss Evans? Mr. Patterson's voice pulled me back. Do you have any questions about the will? I looked him dead in the eye. Just one. When does this become official? The will? He blinked. It's effective immediately. Good. I stood, smoothing my skirt, sliding my purse over my shoulder. Thank you for your time, Mr. Patterson. I trust you'll inform my father and Marie of the details. Miss Evans, don't you want to discuss this with your family? Perhaps there's been some misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. My voice was calm, almost frighteningly calm. The will is perfectly clear. I'm the mistake, and mistakes don't pay bills. Outside, Seattle's perpetual rain had finally stopped, leaving the air crisp and sharp. I drew in a breath that felt like freedom. My phone buzzed again. Marie this time. Where are you? Dad's trying to reach you about the mortgage. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilt. I didn't feel shame, just resolve. Tell Dad the mistake is done fixing your problems. Time to solve them yourself. Send. Block. Silence. As I walked toward my car, the weight on my chest lifted. For the first time in years, I wasn't their safety net. I wasn't their scapegoat. I wasn't the mistake. I was the masterpiece.